Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Computer audio. Okay.
Laura? Or is that Grace?
Grace.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Vanessa.
Yes,
Hi. Oh my
hi.
gosh, you're here already.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I hope you didn't hear me playing around. I didn't know anybody was here.
No, I just heard you saying computer audio. Okay, that's all
Okay.
I
Oh
heard.
my goodness. Well, it is wonderful to meet you. It really is. It is wonderful to meet you.
Well, likewise, I read over your application and or your intake form, and I
Yeah.
totally get like you're really being called into a new season, new work, and moving out of the 101 work.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And this has been, as probably many entrepreneurs can attest, even though as you read things online, you would get the impression that people just decided, to have a business. They had an
Mhm.
idea and boom, now I'm doing all this stuff. But you don't know the years,
Mhm.
that it took to get there and what that journey was. And so yeah, it's been quite the journey. And but yeah, you arrived unexpectedly um uh on my screen back in May.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I had absolutely no intent when I joined your
Mhm.
webinar to purchase, but you were so generous with your insight. And that blew me away. The idea that you gave me for positioning was just gold. And I said that, um, and so yeah, I at that point I realized, yes, I wanted to work with you.
I remember that webinar
Yeah.
and you coming on and us dialing in on just like really narrowing. I don't remember the specifics, but I just remember saying, well, wait, like what about this angle or this
Right.
little sliver instead of this whole bigger promise.
Right. And it was just so completely, like, I just had never, you know what I mean? I
Mm,
just never considered, looking at it, um, considered that angle. And yes, I was just really blown away. So yeah, the insight that you have is just such a blessing. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to working with you.
Now tell me, I look forward to working with you too. I saw on your form that you said you got a tangible outcome about the clarity of your message. Tell me more about that.
Yes. So one of the biggest challenges that I have had, and I've spent the last 4 years um, uh, trying to gain clarity around, is how to merge what I do or what I did or what I want to do, from a practical, technical standpoint, with where I'm coming from, like what I'm grounded in, what my values are, what, you
Mm.
know, and that, and I couldn't figure it out. And what I think I was listening to either the welcome, um, either your welcome video or visioneering. It was one of those two. And I think it may have been when you were talking about the labyrinth.
Mm.
And um, I think that that was where you explained how you arrived at your core message, which is you are enough. And when you said that, I thought, oh my goodness, okay. And so um, finally it came together just like that. And so so that my message is you are set apart, you are set apart.
Mm.
And it's just, you know, it's taken 4 years to the big problem that I was having, or the wall I came up against, was I started investing in coaches 4 years ago. And the first my first coach, total investment was 9,500. And um I got halfway through the program and was realizing that while I, you know, the practical aspects of the program, so teachings about marketing and anything that's technically related, and, you know, technique and things like that, I could follow that, but I was rarely able to take advantage of the coaching calls. I was never
Mm.
able to follow any of the mindset, because, and I couldn't figure out, okay, well, why is this? Because all of this is such an important part of being able to implement, you know, in an authentic way, these tactics. It's just not only about tools and tactics. It's got to be grounded in
Mhm.
your beliefs. And when I realized, oh, it's because I don't believe what they believe. This is
Mhm.
not, you know, and so I then began the journey of undoing a lot of what I had been learning, and as it regarded my thinking about these things, and aligning them with my faith and beliefs, and um, and then, you know, finding a pathway forward. And so as I've personally taken that journey, I've also, you know, joined groups on Facebook, and you know, uh, to in an event, you know, in an effort to learn and help and that sort of thing. And I see a lot of women who were like me, you know, are like me, you know, grounded in the same faith, struggling. And
Mhm.
I see that, you know, when I see what their conversations are, it's because they're trying to operate under two different value systems and
Mhm.
two different uh, faiths and two different belief systems, and you can't do it. You can't do it. But they don't know, you know, like they don't know how to let go
Mhm.
of the one in, you know, in favor of the other, like how to do
Mhm.
that. So yeah, that's so yeah, it's been okay. Well, this has been all great, but now how do I, you know, how do I share this and help them, but in a, at the same time, you know, where my work is concerned, um I've also just realized within the last week or so of beginning the videos that although my education is in graphic and web design, and I studied marketing some at NYU. But my favorite thing in the world is words.
Mm.
And you know, saying what you mean and meaning what you say and speaking the truth, and you know, no gray areas, no deception, no, but you know what I'm saying, that sort of thing, and so clear, and communication that builds up and that encourages and that inspires, and that, but you know, but it has to be true. And so I think that what I'm working to do now is to tradition or transition rather out of um you know, building websites, you know, or even wanting to teach people how to build websites, to content strategy, and
Mm.
you know, understanding how um um understanding how to serve people with content, and
Mm.
how to do it as a person of faith. And you can't do it like everybody else is doing it, because you are set apart.
Nice. I love it. I love your clarity. That's awesome. I'm going to pause our conversation only because people will be coming on, and I just want to check in with Darby, who'll be
Absolutely.
facilitating this. But
Absolutely.
I'm glad you came on early. We
I'm
got
glad I did
that in.
too. I did not expect you to be here. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see.
Hello,
Darby.
Vanessa.
Hi.
Good morning, Grace. It's nice to meet you. I'm Darby.
Hi, Darby. It's good to meet
How are
you.
you feeling, Darby?
I am hanging in there. I feel better, but now you know you get the residual from how you felt. So, but I'm hanging in there. No worries.
Well, we're glad you're here.
No problem at all. Just remember to move me over as host, and I'll take care of.
You should be. I did that a little bit ago, so see if it works
Oh,
on your end.
good deal. Yes, I see it. Perfect.
I'll do screen share. If you'll confirm you can see it.
It is coming up. Yep, we've got it.
Okay. Oops.
Perfect. We are ready to roll, and as people enter, they're muted. So at the top of the hour, you'll be ready to go.
Okay, I have on my roster Gail Buffalo, Jennifer Rice, Frances Grace, Aaron, and Patty. So 6 who got this bonus call. Am I looking at accurate, so I can allocate time properly for love seats?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to step away for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Good morning. Hi, Erin. Pink, do you go by Pink? I saw that on your form, and then I see it now on your name, on your screen. Will you type into the chat if you prefer us to call you Pink? So glad you're here. Oh, it's already noon. There's Gail. Welcome, Gail. There's Laura. All right, I like to start promptly, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Honor those who've shown up on time. Welcome to Create Your Signature Program. You have earned this bonus call, and I'm so glad you're here because it's going to be an intimate group. And if you're ready for it, this is really an opportunity where you can get some individualized attention. My intention for today is to be able to go through as many as possible on love seats. So if you want to take advantage of that, I would just say, be prepped for that. What that means is that I'll unmute your line and we can bring you on. And the intention for the initial call is really to serve you in getting clarity about what we're going to focus on for you. So if you have multiple ideas, if you have multiple things that have been stirring on your heart and on your mind, it's really to dial in what's that focus that we can spend the rest of the workshop really getting clarity on and flushing out on your behalf. So that's how I would recommend you use this first call. What is that biggest challenge you have? And let's address that. You got this extra time with me, and so I really want to serve you powerfully in it, make the most of it. So my name is Vanessa Horn. This is probably the 12th virtual workshop that we have held over the last 2 years. And I absolutely love supporting you in this work because I know inside of you has been stirring a desire to share your message, to make sense of your background and your expertise, and to package it into a way that will serve others. And it is our expertise as a company to guide you along that journey, to give you step by step by step, so that by the time we walk through the entire virtual workshop and during our signature showcase, it comes together into something that you can actually enroll clients into, that embodies you uniquely, serves others powerfully, and can earn you money. So we love doing this work, and we're so excited to have you here today. And so let me just walk you through a couple of key things that you need to know about your controls. And this is just something that I want to orient you to for Zoom as a particular platform that we use. And I would recommend that you use whenever you do virtual work with your clients. So this is, on the left-hand side is the mute button. So for the most part, everyone will be muted until we unmute your line. So if you're doing a love seat, for instance, we'll unmute you, but that's where you control your mute and unmute. You'll also see that there's options that you'll see whenever you're at the top of this screen. It'll say you're seeing my screen, and you'll have the options where you can exit if you need to. Sometimes we do stuff in the Facebook group, but most of this workshop, including the prep calls and the workshop itself, are done on this entire platform. And I would recommend turn off distractions, get your notebook, print out the workbook that goes along with this course, and really be fully present, because this is very systematic in this manner that we walk through. And also there's an intuitive side of it, and really us paying attention to you, listening to the words that you share, so that we can dial in what feels most congruent and aligned with what is your unique genius. And so that just means the more fully present you can be, the better. So as a matter of fact, at this moment, knowing the power of breath, I just want us all to take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in and release. I want you to do that one more time. Hold it at the top and then release, okay? Close your eyes on this round. Deep breath in. Hold. Let it out. We're here to serve you. We're here to serve you. The other things I want you to see on your control panel is that there is a message. You can see where you can type into the chat, and we will be using this throughout. Use this, engage, use it as your opportunity to engage with one another, support each other, because we're all coming in feeling very vulnerable to a certain degree, because this is us kind of laying out our heart, laying out these desires on the table. And there's something so powerful about what we create here as a group, the sacred nature of this work. And it's the safety within which we can feel support from others and really know that we have each other's back and we're cheering each other on and we're advocating for each other and this work that we know that we're called to do. So using that chat function to, whenever somebody speaks up or if somebody says something, type into the chat some encouraging words to them. Or if you have interaction with me or my team, type that into the chat, because this is very interactive from that component. And then, of course, when you have your time unmuted, it's very interactive. And then lastly is you'll see the chat on the right. You can raise your hand. So I just want you to practice that right now and just raise your hand if you are a willing participant for a love seat. If you're saying like, Vanessa, if we have the time, I definitely want to do it. Just raise your hand, because I want to fit in as many people as possible who are ready to go today. And if I can encourage you, I would say take advantage of this and just say I'm in. Okay, because you get your time to be unmuted and we can dial in on what's the biggest challenge or where you feel like some additional clarity will really serve you in taking advantage of the material that we'll walk through in the remaining calls. All right. So let's dive in. Here's what we're going to cover on today's call. I'm going to introduce you to the team. I could not do what I do, and you could not do what you do without this team. I'm so honored by their commitment to our work here, and they're just such an important part of what we do. We're going to do an overview of the program, what to expect, how it'll work, how to get the most out of it. And then a small orientation, then I'm going to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and that's when we'll do as many love seats as possible. So here are the team members. I consider myself just the channel through which this work is conducted. I really say, okay, God, use me as a vehicle, use me as a vessel that can serve other people. And so this work of serving others to create their signature work in the world, how they're going to make their mark in life, was something that's been so heavily impressed on my heart, and actually work I've been doing my entire life to some degree or another. I remember in college, people would say, if you don't know your vision, go to Vanessa's dorm room, like spend some time with her and she'll help you create your vision for your life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing now. So I'm just simply the founder of this work. This team really helps us to bring this into reality, including Amy. Amy has been with me since the very beginning. Back when I was in network marketing, we knew each other and worked together, and she's seen me transition and has seen the evolution of me taking bold steps to put my work out into the world the way that you're doing right now. So you have likely had some interaction with her. Many of you have, or if you've had the honor to, you'll feel her genuine commitment to you and your work and that love that exudes through her. And it's because she's seen it. She's not only supported me, she's supported multiple clients that have come through this program in getting their work out into the world. So she's a valuable part of our team, just a complete woman of grace and love that you'll adore. Rosanna is on the team as well, and she is here to support you. You'll see she was one who may have called you to remind you of appointments or otherwise. And she's a valuable part of our team and committed to really helping you create an extraordinary experience here. Laura is our client care representative. She replies to the emails. She's also in the Facebook group under Vanessa Horn Crew. So if you have anything that you need to tag us on, if it's a support question like tech or billing or otherwise, I do ask you to send that to client care at Vanessa Horn and she'll reply there. But other things related to the program that is content or you want to get clarity, like use a Facebook group. It's a powerful community for us to be supporting each other over the next 2 weeks where we're going to do fast and furious work together, but you interacting with each other and sharing there is a critical piece of it. And Darby is our event producer. She's the one who will be doing all the tech controls of the Zoom platform, and she's our business manager and such a critical part of us running smoothly as a company, and I so appreciate her support. So this is the team. We're all here for you. We're all cheering you on, and we're all holding the strongest intention for you to get the clarity and the outcome that you desire, and we're 100% committed to that. The program in its totality is called the Signature Series, and you're participating in Series 1, which is the creation piece. This is you getting clear about whom you serve, what problem you solve for them, what will your program and delivery methodology look like, what's your key messaging. And then from that is what we support in marketing and in selling of the program. You will get those strategies and how to create clients quickly bonus module, and I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. But this is how it fits in the bigger portfolio of our services to you. And so I just want to give you an orientation that you're in Series 1 of the Signature Series, which is our curriculum for serving purpose-driven entrepreneurs to get your work out into the world. There's 6 parts to this particular program. There's the curriculum that you have likely accessed on the membership site. We'll have our preparation coaching call, which is technically kicking off next week, but you get this bonus call today. We have an entire full day virtual workshop, which is where the majority of the work will be done. We'll have a follow-up call after that, which is really great for just wrapping up loose ends. And then number 5 is you have an opportunity to upgrade to a one-on-one call if you so desire it. But really the fact that you're here today and you get to take advantage of an additional love seat is awesome. So congratulations on taking fast action when you registered, because that means that you're one of the few who qualified for this call. And then lastly is our Signature Showcase Day, where you will be able to present your program. And many clients will have like a logo created with their program name on it. It's just the culmination of all this work that we'll be doing together. So that's a really beautiful celebration of your accomplishments. So here's the outcomes of the program that we're committed to for today. Visioneering. We're going to help you say, you know what, I feel good that I'm creating a signature program that's a level 10 for me. This is so huge for me because I'm not a business coach who's just like, oh, let's just make money at whatever cost. No, I want you to be doing your soul's work. And so sometimes that means going to places that feel scary. Sometimes that means like dusting off the cobwebs from things that have been in our hearts for years. And it means delineating between things that we could do and we could create in the world, maybe 7, 8, or 9 level programs, and instead really dialing in that level 10, because you're going to learn a framework in this course that you can use for any future program you ever want to launch. And so I say, you know what, while you have our support, don't be afraid for going for that program that feels like a level 10 for you. It means you have to be in connection with your heart and bring that to the forefront. There's vulnerability involved with that, and there's courage involved with that. We know what that feels like. As a matter of fact, I'm going through that right now, so I feel very raw right now with you guys in this journey. Like God's been stirring some stuff up in my heart to create. And I'm like, for the first time ever, I think it's like my really level 10 stuff that's been bubbling up. And I'm noticing like concerns or fears show up in ways that it hadn't before. And I'm like, oh, I'm onto something. I know. Like I have this belief that fear, or when something feels scary, it means it's an indication of the exact direction I need to go, because it just means a new evolution of my growth. And packaging is clarity about whom you serve as your ideal client. This is really big. Just for you to get this outcome would just be what I see many people take a lot of different courses, and not having that clarity makes other programs not be successful. So we really make sure you get the clarity of that. Even if it's just the first group you're going to serve, we say date them. You don't have to marry them. Date. Who's that first group that you want to test and see, like, oh yeah, that's who I love working with. Positioning. This alone is a 10K value for you to get your unique positioning. And so we're really listening to what's unique about you, your story, what's important to you, because that helps us pull out the elements of your positioning that help your work stand out from everybody else, and has your ideal client say, oh yeah, oh my gosh, she's the coach for me. I don't care if there's other people who do this work. She's the coach for me. And so we listen for that unique positioning that really has them resonate with you. Pricing, you're going to know the price of your program. We're going to get that dialed in. You're going to feel good about it. And then delivery, you're going to have your program outlined, and you will choose the methodology that you're going to use to enroll clients. So it's a little different for everyone. I highly encourage a group program creation. But the beautiful thing about our work is that we teach one program, multiple streams of income. So there's multiple levels at which you can serve your clients, but creating one core curriculum allows you to easily deliver it in multiple ways. But we say, coming out of this class, we want you to choose what's your primary one, so that when I ask you the question, hey, if I had a dozen clients ready to pay you right now, what would you sell them into? You know exactly what that is, because it feels so good. It means that you can go out and create clients immediately after this workshop. And then the membership site. The membership site is all the core curriculum. I highly encourage you to go through that all of it, if possible, before our call next week. And it just gives you the opportunity to get everything that's in your head, and allows the material to start to really be absorbed by you, so that when we start making our way through it, I don't have to focus on teaching. I can just focus on helping you implement. And all the blueprints and templates are there that are proven. Our clients have loved, because they've gotten clarity that they haven't had for years trying to do this on their own. And so in our preparation calls, particularly next week, be ready to answer this. Of course, introducing yourself. Do you have a signature program now narrowed down? If so, what is it? Have you done this work before, one-on-one or other? Do you know whom you could serve with your work? What problem might you aim to solve for them? Or what type of results could you help them achieve? Why is this important to you? And have you done a brain dump of your potential steps for creating that outcome for your clients? So today, we can go through these questions for you when you go through your love seat. Or what I really say is, like, what's the one thing that is holding you back from being able to answer those questions, or really dial in the program that feels like a level 10 for you? And let's get that knocked out in our time together. And then the virtual workshop is about implementation. You're going to see, we're going to go worksheet by worksheet by worksheet, knock it out. I do very little content review. We'll implement the worksheets. Even if you do them in advance of going into the workshop, we'll actually do it that day. We'll do love seats. We'll do breakout groups with your peers. And then we'll come back and review. That's step by step over the course of 4 to 5 different content modules. We'll take those exact steps. So by the end, you'll have a very solid draft of your program and all those elements that we said that would be the outcomes as part of that. This is the agenda, just so you know, for our workshop taking place on February 3rd. 10 to 1 is our morning sessions where we will do the teachings, the love seats, the breakout groups. That is all, we'll do 2 to 3 content pieces in that morning, including all of your implementation of it. We'll take a quick lunch break, 30 minutes, and then we'll come back in the afternoon and do the same thing. So have your call guide printed and ready to go for that day. So mark off 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on February 3rd, Friday, February 3rd, and let's get ready to get some awesome outcomes for you. Here's logistics. All this is recorded. You'll have access to the recording through the workshop. So if you want it, download it, because we don't keep it long-term on our membership site. What your program includes is the membership site with the materials, the 2 coaching calls, the Facebook group, the one-on-one call. It's an upgrade option, in the signature showcase. So the love seat, what it just means is I'll unmute your line, and we're going to have time for everybody to go today. And let's just do a roll call of who's here. I believe, Pink. Okay. Pink said you couldn't see the raised hand, but you're in. Okay, awesome. I see Pink. I see Francis. I see Gail. I see Grace. I see Patty. Awesome. Okay, so that's, and the other person I'm looking for is Jennifer. Jennifer, is that you with the phone number? I see a phone number, but I don't know who that is. Who's ending in number 7524? Who is that? So we know who that is. Somebody's called in on the phone line, and so it doesn't show your name. I think that might be Jennifer. Just want to confirm so that I can budget the amount of time that we give for everybody properly. I'm going to unmute you. Hang on a sec. I'm going to mute the person ending. Oh, there you are. Hi. Who's this? I'm sorry?
Hi, Vanessa. It's Francis. It's Francis.
Oh, okay. Francis.
I know you said Francis, but 7524 are the last 4 digits of my phone also. So I don't know if it's one and the same.
Well, I see you on the internet, but I see your phone. I think you're seeing us on the screen, but you've dialed in with the phone. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, cool. And do you prefer Francis or Francie? Because I saw your form had both.
Francie.
Francie. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
you're here. Okay, awesome. So that's perfect. We know everyone's here. That would give us roughly, I would say, about 10 minutes a person that we could do the love seats. And then we won't do it today, but we will do it next week. We'll have breakout groups where you'll start to interact with one another as you go through the material and answer the questions. This just allows you, it's so, so valuable. And one of the pieces that people love a lot out of this course is just having others who are speaking the same language, giving you feedback, helping to see your genius. And as you share things, saying, that sounds clear, or no, what about this? And just getting multiple people's feedback is so, so valuable. So, Darby, I think we can mute Francie. I think she's still unmuted. And roughly in the breakout groups, it's 10 minutes a person. So, and then in the follow-up coaching call, we name your program. And if we wanted to go through your program modules, we could. But that's after the workshop. And then there's a one-on-one call upgrade. Some people want additional support after going through the workshop and say, I want to talk to Vanessa. I want to get her additional time with her. And so you'll see some information being emailed to you about that after the workshop if you want to take advantage of that. And also in the signature showcase is our final call where you'll own your program. And what that looks like is we give you a script. And we just tell you, fill out the script, which you'll have all the answers to once you go through the workshop. And you fill out the script, and it'll be like a virtual stage where you come on and I say, hi, this is, for instance, Francie. We're excited to introduce her, and she will be presenting her program today. And then Francie, you would come on and you would read the script. And then what we do is we take those recordings and we add music to it. If you have a logo, that's a perfect time where we can have your logo on the screen while you read your script. But that's all you need to do to prepare for the signature showcase is just write out that script, send it to our team in advance, and read your script while you're on our virtual stage. And it's so beautiful to see the work come together so that you have this program that you're presented and the founder and creator of by the time we end this course. So here's two things that I want to clarify that you'll see in your emails as you go through the program. People ask me, Vanessa, do I keep getting additional access to the membership site? We will give you 6 months of access just by giving us feedback. So that after the workshop on Friday, you'll see that we use multiple points, and I'm modeling for you what you can do in your own program. We interact a lot with our clients to constantly improve our program and to ensure that they get the outcome that they want. And so they're immediately after the virtual workshop, you're going to get an email that says, give us your feedback. Did you get everything that you wanted? If not, there's still time for us to make sure that we do in the follow-up call. So it's important for you to fill that feedback out. And as a reward, we give you 6 months access to the membership site. And that can continue every time you give us feedback. So that's what you'll see the day of the workshop coming to you at roughly 5 p.m. that night saying, hey, did you get everything that you wanted? If not, let us know what you feel like you're missing so we can make sure that you get that before the course is over. And then we do have a bonus class called How to Create Clients Quickly. And this is all the ways that I've created high-end clients paying me up to $30K without needing technology, without having to have Facebook ads or anything online. These are all of our top strategies for creating clients immediately. You literally can make, this is where I say your first 10K lies. You can make 10K after the virtual workshop by implementing those strategies because you're connected already in your network to your first 10K worth of clients. I promise you they're there waiting for you. I've even had clients say, no, you don't know my network, Vanessa. They won't pay these fees. And sure enough, once you get the clarity about what you're doing and you can articulate what you do so well, you'll see people say, oh my gosh, I've got to work with you. So the way we give you access to that is we just ask you for a testimonial. And it's really just participation. So if you feel, we ask for an honest testimonial. And if you're like, oh, well, you know, it's participation. We're just asking for participation. So the ones that are, we use those testimonials for marketing purposes, or if it's just you're just doing it for participation, fabulous. We just ask that as another feedback mechanism built into our process in order to unlock that bonus. Okay? So let's dive in to the signature series. Series 1, Create Your Signature Program. And if you have an interest in the entire program or additional ways of working with us, book an inquiry call with Amy on our team. She's our program specialist, and she will help you navigate. If you're saying, Vanessa, I want to take this work beyond Create, or what other things can I do? I loved my experience. This is what else I'd like to do. Then Amy can see if there's additional ways that we can serve you beyond the Create program. Here's a couple of key principles for success. Trust the process. Just trust. Something had you resonate with this when you showed up on the webinar. Something had you say, this is the coach for me. This is the program for me. This is who the next step I'm supposed to take in my journey. And so I trust that action that you took, that stepping up, is divinely orchestrated, and we're here to serve you powerfully. We're committed to that. So trust the process. Trust that you're here for a reason, and what is that? And we have our methodology really dialed in, so I'm confident that you'll get the outcomes. Just keep an open heart through it. Number 2, you are the co-creator of your experience. So if you say, I enrolled in this program with the intention of getting X as my core outcome, then ensure that you get that outcome. You get to raise your hand and ask questions. You get to be on the love seat. You get to provide us feedback to say, yes, I got that, or no, I still want some additional support around this. Own the outcome that you get, okay? We're doing this in co-creation with you, but we can't do it without you speaking up. Where do you need support most? Number 3, 80% is the new 100%. What that means is many of us have not yet put our work out into the world because we get stuck in perfection. And that's feeling like it has to be 100% before we put it out there. So I want us to do a little trick on our brains, because it's just our brains trying to protect us. And the new trick is, if it feels like it's 80%, we're ready. Okay? Because 80% is the new 100. Actually interacting with your clients, just like I showed you earlier, we get feedback forms, we ask you constantly, like, are you getting what you want? Allows you to make your program from 80 to 100%, actually interacting with live clients. So before that, it's ready to go as soon as it's anywhere between 60 to 80%. And imperfect action has been one of the most important principles of success for our clients in this program. They say, Vanessa, I finally put it out there. You made me make decisions. You gave me deadlines. And instead of spinning in confusion or in indecision, I took action. And I'm so, so happy with the outcome that I got. So that is one of the most important principles that you will learn in our program, and why you're going to be successful when we get through this is because you're going to get stuff done, and you're going to make decisions, and we're going to move forward, and you're going to get your work out into the world. And it's going to be amazing what you're going to see in the next 2 weeks. And number 4, don't worry. You get a second round through this material. And we build that in intentionally in case you want to make tweaks to your program, or if you want to create another program. So this first round is like learning how to drive the car. We're giving you the lessons. We're showing you the frameworks. We're showing you so that you can get that foundation in place and know exactly what to do in order to create a successful program. Sound good? All right. So now it's your turn. We get to unmute, and we're going to go through individually and ask you how we can support you. So let me see, do we see the raised hands? For everyone who, if you're in for a love seat, raise your hand. Okay, I see Gail's in for a love seat. I think Pink, you said you couldn't raise your hand, but you're in for a love seat. Who else wants a love seat? Raise your hand in the chat function, and that'll just tell me you're ready to go for us to unmute your line and really find out how can we support you with the clarity so that you can make the most of the program. Because here's the most important thing that you can do leading up to the program is narrow down your idea. Narrow down your idea, because many clients come in with multiple ideas or multiple program concepts, and we say, okay, well, wait, which one's your level 10? Let's see if we can get clarity of that, whom you serve, and what your program materials would be, okay? So that would be a fabulous outcome for you to have from our call today. All right. So, Gail, since you raised your hand, I'm going to unmute you, and you'll be our first love seat. Yay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to hear your voice and to get started. I'm excited.
Awesome. So I know that you've been on some of the webinars and you've been making your way through the material. So in order to be ready and make the most out of our program together, tell me what's bubbling up for you as something that we can address in our call today and really help you get clarity so that you can make the most of the rest of the program.
So I'll give you, it's multiple choice, and then you can pick what you think is
okay.
Most helpful. I've gotten through a good bit of like the tall workbook. When I go back to visioneering, I get stuck because I've always been super busy, and I know that focus is the word for 2017, I feel like, and it's definitely your word. And I'm in a doctoral program, and so there is synergy between my signature program and my research. But I feel like my vision is changing for what I want. I started a doctoral program because I wanted to be, I thought, a professor, but now the more that I work in the business sector, the more I love teaching adults, and I was just thinking about how much as a teacher, I love the way that this is set up, and people don't need a whole semester to learn certain things. And so I'm having like an existential thing going on with like, do I want to be a professor, or do I think I want to be in the business world? But that's a little scary for me. So the visioneering part, and like imagining what would my life look like if I, write my dissertation, but then I am a businesswoman and a mother, and those are the things that are in my vision. And then the other side of it is, I feel a little bit, the last time that we talked, we kind of set my price at $8,000, because once people go through my program, they will get a $15,000 annual increase in their salary. So that's how I can provide that value. I'm seeing that I can offer the program and people can get through most of the content in like 6 months. So I'm wondering if I should change the price to incentivize people in programs to buy it. And so I am wrestling with the price a little bit. I love the idea of charging that, but those are the two places where I'm struggling. I think because I'm already doing this like face to face, that I have good sense of the content, but it's just the visioneering piece. And like, what does that mean about like working, you say a reverse engineer. So like, I want to get the vision right. And I know we don't spend a lot of time on that. So I'm curious about that. And then the pricing, those are my two things.
Okay. So here's my sense. If we have the conversation about the pricing, there's a certain element of some decision making that will take place, because it sounds like, yes, this is the work I want to be doing. Like, you're pretty clear about that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some other ambiguity that exists around the visioneering for you. Like, what does that look like? What will change when I finish my doctorate, and all those types of things. Let's just anchor in what we do know. And what we do know is, you're working on this, and that you're going to optimize the money you can make from it and your focus on this. So are you cool with us like anchoring in what you do know about your visionary?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. And as you make decisions about the other things in your visioneering, like, this is the process that I walk through. Like, I really believe we already know the answers to things. Like, especially, and this has taken me years to learn, if I check in with my body, like, don't let my brain make decisions and do pros and cons and all that. Just like rest into my body. Do I feel peace, or do I feel discontent? Do I feel like, even if I don't know the answers to how it'll take place, I'm like, no, this is where I'm supposed to go. If I just trust that deeper knowing and how my body responds to the option of that thing, I follow where I sense the peace. And the other things, I just say, no, it doesn't even have to make sense to my brain. And so I just say, as you're putting all these different things down on paper as options for visioneering, check in with your body. Check in with your intuition or your deeper knowing about things. And if something doesn't land with a sense of peace around it, just say no to it right now, because the biggest thing that will serve you is removing options that aren't a 10. And I just say, if it doesn't have a total sense of peace, even if you don't know how, just remove it. And it gives you space. It feels like a sense of expansion, where it's like, now it doesn't feel overwhelming with all these different things that you're weighing out. Does that make sense? That's the only little thing I'll say about the visioneering.
Yes, that's a big help in attending to just like not trying to overanalyze it. I think that's really helpful. Yep.
Yeah, we ignore our body as a tuner into what's right. So let's talk about the pricing. I remember on one of the calls I did with you, I think on the webinar, we talked about giving them a downsell. And I don't know, your audio is a little funky. I don't know if it's your movement or what, but I hear, like, just so if you go back to listen to your recording on this, has some background noise, or the audio component's a little funky, just so you know.
Air conditioning, do you still hear it now?
You seem better now, yeah.
Okay, I think I was just moving some papers around, so that's
Oh,
probably.
okay. Okay. So I think we talked about, or maybe it's your breath on the headset or something. Like it's like movement. I can hear all these other movements besides your voice. Oh, wait. Yeah, she's the only one unmuted, right? Yeah, so it has to be that. So I thought we talked about a potential downsell for people who couldn't afford the 8K program. And I will say that, the length of time is not the determining factor. People don't buy how long programs are. They don't buy the number of modules or coaching calls. They buy the outcome. So as a matter of fact, I have my highest revenue I've ever earned was for the shortest deliverable. I've had clients who paid me $24,000 for 2 days of working with me. 2 days. So were they paying for 6 months of support or a year's worth of support or anything like that? No, they were paying to get it knocked out. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so it's the outcome that people pay for. So I don't know if your program was a year and you dropped it down to 6 months, so now you're questioning your pricing. But I would just say if the outcome is still the same, that you can support them in 6 months and they'll get a $15K pay raise on average, it doesn't matter if you accomplish that in a weekend or a year. You're still getting the same outcome. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But did we not talk about a downsell option for just curriculum only?
Yes, we did, and I definitely have that on the list. I'm moving again. Let me stop. Okay, it's definitely on the list. But like when we get into the virtual workshop, do we talk more about how to price the downsell?
We don't get into a lot of detail about it. It's just a price that feels good to you because it's not going to be any additional work. So for instance, my first program I ever launched was roughly $3,600 if they paid in full, or like $3,900 if they did payment plan. But I gave them access to the curriculum only if they paid $1,200 to $1,500. So it was roughly, what's that, a third?
Right.
So a third just to get access to the materials. So it's going to be in that ratio, roughly. You could do it for, let's say, $2K for your program or $2,500, and that would still be a tremendous value. But they get that additional support of your expertise, proven expertise, for upgrading to the full amount. Okay. This is what I'll say, Gail, about knowing you and your work.
Yep.
And pricing. Pricing is such a deeply personal decision that I've come to realize I can't give my clients the number. It has to come from inside of them, and it has to be a price where you feel congruent within yourself. And with our process of doing the cost analysis and benefit analysis and doing that pricing work, once you settle in on a rate where you're like, you know what, this is what the price should be because I know the value of what I'm giving to them, your clients will pay because they feel your conviction and confidence. They won't pay because of the making sense of the amount or not, because you'll see that it's just a number at the end of the day. Like I've had people who, $497 was a big deal, and other people that, $24,000 wasn't a big deal. So it's our own relationship to our price determines the conviction that we have about it, and people pay us and enroll to work with us based on the conviction that we deeply feel. Not that we portray that we feel, but that we deeply feel. So I just say, go inward. Where do you feel a congruency where you're like, you know what? Like this is a freaking deal at this price for what they get. And when you have that level of conviction and confidence, like that's your price. Or if you say, I want to grow into 8, but you know what, I want to start at this because I just want to build my confidence or whatever, do that. But you need to determine what that price is by going inward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I had one of my mentors, and I've got to wrap up with you, but one of my mentors, she charged $15,000 to speak, and she was represented by Success Magazine, one of the largest, like most prominent magazines that books speakers. $15,000. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, look at your background. Look at what you've accomplished. Look at your mate, because she was the president of a company that I worked for. And I said, I will represent you. And she goes, I can't afford to pay you. I go, I will negotiate my rate, my fee into your speaking fee. And she goes, oh, well, that's genius. And you know what? I negotiated for her $35K. $35K I negotiated for her because I had confidence and conviction, and the company was like, done. So it's the confidence and conviction piece that has people pay. It's not the number. Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm excited to support you.
I'm excited too. Thank you.
All right. All right. We'll mute Gail. Pink, you'll come up next.
Okay, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
There you are.
This is fantastic. So good to meet you. So should I do a little intro? Is that what you'd like me to do?
I'd like you to tell me what it is as you're kind of been interacting with the materials and getting ready. And you're thinking about, and I know you're working full time and you're considering what that transition looks like for you. I've read all of your guys' intake forms. You know, what can we help you dial in? Because I know for you, you've been wrestling with like some of the ideas. So what can I support you in dialing in that will really help you as we go to implement and flush out a program? What do you need to know or get clear on in order for us to do that work most powerfully?
Great, sure. So so I've just been looking at, I was working full-time through the end of December and have really, as I've scaled way back on my full-time job in January, it's been about a month. So I've done a deep dive. I'm actually doing concurrently another, somewhat similar online coaching program, and then saw your materials and thought it would be a really great compliment and liked your message. So I'm sort of working through both at once. So I've been doing a lot of this early stage development on finding message and understanding, how what I have to offer will translate into a more entrepreneurial space. Because for me, it has a lot to do with moving out of a very structured corporate environment into something that just has more potential, right, and more energy. So some of what I've done isn't maybe showing up in the Create program yet, but I've been working a lot on understanding. So where I really feel my passion is around innovation. I've worked in the public infrastructure sector, basically doing municipal work like roads and water systems and things like that, and I've done engineering and management consulting and innovation. So I've had this career that's evolved. I really have loved doing a lot around sort of business coaching, I guess, for municipal departments, for non-for-profits. I've actually served on boards of non-for-profits in sort of membership associations. I really enjoy, I think the people who are drawn to me tend to be people in that sector, right? People who do good public service work, right? Also, young people are often drawn to me for mentoring. So I've been playing around. Really where I'm at is trying to decide if what I'd love to bring into the world is this notion that we can create an innovation culture around us by really some of the very language that you use, right? You're going in, right? You're going in and you're finding where your fears are and sort of taking a look at them and realizing that there are strengths and growth areas there. but using it a little bit in a language that where you can bring it in, because I myself have benefited from leadership trainings, and it's helped me get to a space where I could do a lot more personal growth. And so I think there's something about the buzzword of innovation that can help people start to face some fears. So where I'm at now is that's really where the like umbrella passion is. I'd love to do workshopping. I know people across many, many disciplines, and I'd love to do sort of cross-discipline, almost mashups where you can bring together maybe business ideas with things that are really esoteric to people, like aerial arts or circus performance or bartending or whatever. I've done some fun things around that where you can really get some messages across by just getting people to shift their perspective a little bit. That I don't know exactly how it would come together yet, but one thing I have that's a little bit ready to go, because I've actually done it one-on-one and seen the transformation happen, is a module around decision-making based on a really good evaluation of your risks. And it's super simple, but super transformative. And to me, it fits in with my overall innovation passion, because if you can understand what your real risks are that are facing you, well, then that helps you to face your fears, and it helps you get to that place where, you can really just, like I said, create that place where you can be having ideas and transforming whatever it is. And so my audience is a big deal. Is it, do I stick with the municipal sector? Do I focus on not-for-profits? Do I focus, at one point I was thinking about focusing on maybe millennial-aged entrepreneurs, because they are starting, small organizations, businesses, not-for-profits a lot. There's a lot of that going on right now, and they may be getting to the point where they could use some clarity on competing priorities. And that's really what that risk module helps with, is when you're feeling overwhelmed, well, maybe if you're making some decisions based on where your real risks are, it'll help you not just be dealing with the squeaky wheel every day. So I can just imagine lots of different kinds of organizations could benefit from that. And understanding where my network, where I should focus first. So that's kind of a lot because it's early days, but you might be able to pull something out of that.
Yeah, so this is what I hear. I hear where I was paying attention, and I would ask you guys all to do this whenever you do, especially like your peer breakout groups. But I'm listening to you, I'm paying attention to your energy, and where I heard your voice and your energy rise when you said, I really love, and I'm like, okay, what's this? And you're like, the business coaching around innovation. And this is just my sense for you, Pink. And this is like, you can't make a wrong decision here. I want to assure you of this. When you're asking the question, who's this audience I focus on? I really don't think you could make a wrong decision, whether it's municipals, not-for-profits, or young entrepreneurial entrepreneurs. My sense that I'm getting for you is that it doesn't have to go granular to one of those, that you can go up a level. Like, I just get a sense of like leadership for you. And the beautiful thing about innovation, and you can target, if one of those other ones are your audience, like if you're speaking to that audience, you can speak to the uniqueness that affects them. But because innovation is such an in demand, and if you can tie it in like to the outcomes that companies want or that entrepreneurs want, and you can really address it at a one level up. Most people, I'm having them go down. Like I'm saying, okay, wait, go more granular in whom you're addressing. But for you, I'm getting a sense of like you having your message be one level up. And if you're speaking to those particular audiences, have it be specific to them, but take it to like young entrepreneurs is a broader enough audience. Or if you're just saying like business leaders, or if you're just saying leaders, like taking it one level up in your messaging wouldn't be a wrong choice for you. Like it could be more of your umbrella messaging is what I'm saying. But no matter which one of those choices that you make, you can't go wrong.
Okay, that's great. That's really interesting because I know a lot of the advice out there today is that in order to get through the noise, you should go super specific. And I struggle with that because I think what you said is absolutely true. It's not always in my nature to go super specific. Sometimes I am a little bit broader because my expertise is pulling together, or my what I do naturally well is pulling together disparate, skill sets and making synergies out of them. That is in fact my skill set. So it's always sometimes harder for me to go super specific. It's almost the antithesis of what I do well. So I appreciate.
Yeah, and the thread that I hear in those different niches is that they're committed to the benefit of others.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like similar where I say purpose-driven. Entrepreneurs, maybe there's another expression for you, like it could be mission-driven organizations, or it could be like I see socially conscious companies, or whatever is your expression. Like for me, it's more of like the underlying mission of why they do what they do. That's the specificity of whom you work with.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Now, the question I have about the decision-making or about the innovation, like decision-making could be a module or a segment process underneath the innovation program, or you need to make the decision of, is decision-making your program?
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Sorry, finish.
I was just going to say I'd encourage you to do the innovation, and if decision-making is part of that, include it.
Yes. So that is, I'm sort of, as this develops, that's how it has, you again, absolutely picked up on that notion that innovation can be the umbrella, and that there's this module that can be, hey, one of the modules is this risk module and how it fits in, but then that there could be other modules that would then feed into this overall outcomes, different kinds of outcomes that would be there. So yeah, absolutely. That's, I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's where I'm at as I sort of write the story, of if you engaged, what path could you take, what different modules could you take in order to affect these different transformations. So that's great.
Awesome. Was that helpful?
Yes, very. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for showing up. It's our honor to support you. All right, we'll mute out Pink. Who else is next? Who wants to go? Raise your hand. I want to give everyone the chance, but if there's somebody who's like, I'm not ready, I want to honor that. Okay, Grace, you're next. Hi, Grace.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi there. Okay, so as I've been listening to Pink, and I can't remember who went first, Gail, and listening to you coaching them through their questions, and also thinking about the conversation that you and I had before we started today. I realized that what I was working towards creating with this program is actually, it might be a part of it, like how you just explained with Pink, or how she arrived at the conclusion that the broader thing that she would talk about, there's a broader thing she would talk about, and then something else that is a component of it. And so I think that I'm now wondering, and it may just take going through the rest of the modules of this program, and in particular packaging, maybe, to figure out if now, instead of creating a program around creating content, if I'm really talking about, or if my program should be focused more on mindset and congruency and how, well, yeah, so mindset and the importance of being congruent with your faith and values, how that needs to align with what your message is, and and then creating content is a component of that. So I don't have a clue now where I might where I might start with that, other than my own story.
Which is what? Tell me.
Which is, as I told you earlier, I started investing in coaches 4 years ago, and realized with the first coach that I invested in, about halfway through the program, I was realizing that while I was able to take advantage of the classes and modules and instruction on techniques and tools and practical things, but when it came to instruction and coaching around mindset and these things, that I couldn't take advantage of it because the beliefs were very different from my beliefs, the place that I live out of with my faith. And so it meant that I had to, and still have to, in all of the training, all of the teaching that I get, I have to filter it. But it's taken me 4 years to learn how to do that. And so I see a lot of people online who are in my same position. They're trying to communicate a message, but they're attempting to do that while following two what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to follow two different belief systems, or separate belief systems, or opposing belief systems. And so it's like creating these barriers and blockages for them, because you just can't. There's no congruency there, but they can't figure out how to turn and go the path of what their values are, and that place that they are really living out of, and be true to that in whatever it is that they're communicating and how they communicate their messages and online, and that sort of thing.
So I'll tell you what I hear. One of the key principles to marketing ourselves is marketing to the top of mind issue. It makes it easier for people to invest. It makes it easier for people to find us and all of that. So as I listen to you, most likely people aren't going to be typing into Google how to be more congruent.
No, they're not.
How to align my mindset with my values, let's just say, right?
Right.
But they're feeling, but that's the core issue that's having them not get the results that they want, or to feel like they're compromising the way that they're putting themselves out in the world.
Yes.
So there's part of what I feel is maybe your overarching message maybe around like visibility, or putting your message or representing yourself in such a way that is really who you are, and that you've been trying to follow the blueprints of coaches and other people, that it hasn't allowed you to be fully self-expressed or really yourself, because you're having to filter what you're learning through your value system. And here I can support you in being yourself 100% authentically without having to do that filter process, and getting clear about how do you want to show up in the world? What are your values, and where do we need to put your message? How can we express your message in a way that really represents you? And here you can even go into the details of like content as one of the means of that expression. Do you know what I mean? Like a practical means of that expression. That's what I hear.
Yes. Yes, that, and you hear it right. And so, but the thing is, then, like, I don't even begin to sit down and say, okay, well, then what would the modules of such a training be? And what, what kind of worksheets would I have them? Like, how in the world do you teach that?
Okay, so is it your audience faith-based women?
Yes.
Okay, so attention, business women, faith-based
Yes.
coaches, faith-based whom?
They are established, faith-based solopreneurs, in particular, who have DIY'd a business website for themselves, and have begun blogging, but they can't figure out it's not perform their site and their blog, and these efforts are not resulting in the return that they had expected or hoped for, given the effort that they've put into it.
So I see attention and faith-based solopreneurs, and they're marketing themselves online.
Yes.
So have you been making efforts to market yourself online and not getting the results that you really want? So then your course, I always look at what's your storyline is, like, you had to filter stuff through your value system. So one of the things is like getting clear about what is your value system. If you could be unfiltered, what would you really say? Right? So that's one of the core potential modules. If you wanted to go into, you could go specific because of your background of building websites and such. You could say like how to have your website really represent you, or you could say how to have your online presence really represent you. And then you have a module on your website and a module on blogging and a module on content creation.
Okay.
Right? As potential, as a specific. So right there's 4. And so what else, like maybe, what is that message you're called to share with the world? Like having them be clear. There's the messaging clarity piece that could be a module. These are just ways that I'm listening to what your story has been. And like, if I were your ideal client, I would say like, okay, yeah, I'm not getting the results. I have no idea. I know I'm feeling a dissonance internally. If I'm really, really honest, what I'm hearing her say is true. I'm not being honest about the way that I'm marketing myself. So maybe it's even like, what are those fears or mindset blocks that are limiting your belief about what would really happen if you put yourself out there?
Yes.
So that right there is 6 modules.
Yes.
Values, what message you really want to share, what's blocking you from sharing that message. Now let's take a look at your website, your blogging, and your content.
Yes.
Unless blogging is content, then it's just 5: website and content / blogging.
Great, Scott. Okay. See, gold.
That's just an idea of how we can take what you've just expressed,
Yes,
the top of mind issue, and break it down into steps that follow your storyline and the things that for them to get congruent, they need to address this, this, and this, and your practical expertise around blogging and content stuff.
yes.
I think it's gold for you to include. So now it's just taking it out of the conceptual realm to, okay, let's look at how this applies on your website. Well, let's look at your about page. Is that really who you are? Is this what your messaging really is? Like, what's out of alignment? And let's be bold enough to make those shifts.
Yes.
So you feel good internally, and it'll result in finding more clients who are like, yeah, this is the person for me. Or like they show up differently when they're confident that they're representing themselves in a way that's authentically themselves.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this was so helpful. Thank you so much.
Does that feel good? I mean, just as
it absolutely does. It absolutely does. After the call, I just need to decipher my notes because I was writing so quickly. I just don't even know what kind of shorthand this looks like, but I'm going to decipher my notes. But everything that you said yes, you were hearing me right. You were hearing me right. And this is very helpful, extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
My delight. My delight. Thank you. All right, awesome. So we'll mute out Grace. I see a note from my team that Francie couldn't get the hand raised, but you're ready to go. Francie, let's unmute you. Hi.
Hi, Vanessa. How are you? I gathered a lot actually from the other calls, which were really helpful. But where I'm at is really trying to determine which program to pursue. I have three areas that I've kind of identified as possibilities, and I'm trying to get clear on where do I develop from here to kind of focus. One area is I guess building a strong family foundation, family values, mission statement, family meetings, family service or international, volunteer type work, family routines, those kinds of things. And possibly, targeting that to like single moms who feel like, oh, well, now they're not in a traditional family anymore and they can't really have it anymore. So how can you keep that? How can you build that even if, things have changed kind of thing? Then also another area was I just started doing some vision board workshops, and I kind of wanted to look at possibly building on that in terms of, okay, now you have this vision, but, how do you really convert the vision into, reality, kind of, having your dream and making it tangible, where those steps, what's your purpose, how do you live it, how do you achieve those goals, and breaking it down. And with that, looking at maybe, college age women in their 20s, moms, people that I come into contact with who are always like, I just don't know how to get there kind of thing, or what I'm even supposed to be doing. And then, because I own a staffing company, I really feel like that same core applies, but I feel like there's the whole element of, how do you stand apart in the workplace? How do you stand in your uniqueness and kind of selling yourself? And then how do you stand out in the workplace? Because I feel like a lot of young people kind of just get lost. And again, you've got college age or, kind of first career position or first bounce kind of, target market. So, I see common themes through all of these also. So then I'm kind of questioning myself, well, do I have a common theme I should really just be building in? Or is it more one of these specific areas that I should build out on? And, I'm hearing you say, feel in my body where it really, where I feel strongest. And I feel like I have a hard time with that because I'm passionate about all of them. So I'm having a hard time deciding where to really develop a program.
Okay. So which audience are you most exposed to now?
Moms. And I'm not necessarily personally exposed right now, but I have easier access to kind of the job seekers through, my current business and my current team members and that kind of thing. But I would say, mostly moms first, I would say, on a personal level.
So I will tell you from having supported clients whose target audiences were college age students or like that younger demographic, that it became a slightly different, like we had to determine like who was going to be paying for the program, and that's who you're really marketing to. you know? And so in some cases it's like, well, the parents really need to make the investment. So then we were marketing to the parents, but we had to enroll the younger students. So it was a little bit like that was a demographic that it was a little bit more challenging, I would say, for if you wanted to stay in the higher priced programs, because of the actuality of whom you're thinking of as your target audience, like who's the paying client, the parent or the student. So if you're, and is your personal history being a single mom? I know you mentioned that demographic. I'm curious.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm in your exposure to moms, single moms, I would say, I mean, I have a friend her whole audience is called Single Wealthy Mommy. She has a blog, and I'll tell you, like, she gets massive invitations to speak on stages and host, being a host and a spokesperson for different companies and everything, because companies want to get access to single moms because of the clarity of that demographic. And so it becomes, so to have the support, and it would really be the question of like, what stage in the process might that be that single mom? Because I know some are like in survival and they're just like, I can't add another thing to my plate. And others who are like, you know what, I know, and I'm so intentional about wanting to create a particular dynamic for my family, even in the midst of this transition to single parenting or as a single mom, that I basically need a mom, or I need somebody showing me the way that this can really be done, and creating like a really nurturing environment where they can be guided in that process would be feel really good to them. So and then you can incorporate, like I see that you can do the vision board thing, like you had mentioned in your application, as an entry point to anything, right? To either one of the programs. And so if you become, like even for instance, if you did the career people, right? Like you could say standing out in your uniqueness could include them doing a visionary. Not a visionary, a vision board exercise as a clarity of that. And then like how they're going to take those steps to accomplish what they want in their career. And so I guess the question becomes like, who do you want to be known as? Like, who's the go-to person that you want to be? I had one client who came to me and she said, Vanessa, I want to be the millennial career coach. And I said, okay, that's where we're going to reverse engineer your whole business from. Like today, she sells 20,000 people into her program a day. She's on Forbes, been on TED Talk, all these things, like on that specific vision that she had. Like she wanted to be the go-to on that. So what feels good for you? Like to have people referring to you, to have people saying, oh, you need to talk to Francie about this. What is that? Which one of those audiences do you want to get referrals for?
Well, because I'm trying to build this outside of my business, really, as sort of my next stage career, I would say it probably then would be the single moms, or, women who are alone or whatever, and not in a marriage, or in a, family, traditional family unit. That would be, that's where I would want to go. I think the other piece is very in line with my business, and I could still build it within my business, but it doesn't fuel my truly, I think, where I am called for my next stage. Does that make sense? It's sort of like
question, then.
The other one can just be a fuel, can be an income stream within my current business, but it's not the same as this other area.
Yeah. I think you've answered your own question.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
How's that feel?
I appreciate that. Great. Feels good. I'm smiling. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, go take a look at
Yeah.
Single Wealthy Mommy.
I will.
As a,
Okay.
like just a vision of what's possible, because that's a woman who's like built an entire business around serving that demographic. Now the messaging might be completely separate from yours, but that's irrelevant. It's just showing like there is a true market for that.
Right. Right. Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, awesome. Who's next? Who wants to take advantage of a love seat? I just so love you guys just showing up 100% and laying out your hearts and allowing us to get a glimpse in of what you're toiling with and supporting you in this process. It's a true honor. All right, so I'm just going to check in. Let's see, who else are we? Patty? Yeah, Patty. Patty's next.
Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
Hi, lady.
I am so excited about this program, and I just, every little nugget that you say is like, oh my God, this is like so where I am. This is exactly what I needed. So, one comment that really stood out to me so far is market to the top of mind issue, and I think that's where I'm having my struggle. I feel like I'm going round and round. So my topic is women and money, which, that's so broad, right?
Mm-hmm. No, not necessarily, but go ahead.
Okay. And well, so in the past, as a financial advisor, my focus was on retirement planning for school teachers. And I absolutely loved that work. And then I had gone through a divorce and everything and got away from that. And so it's been a few years since I've worked in that field. And now, as a money coach, I'm having a hard time seeing how they would pay high-end prices for a program when essentially I worked with them for free, meaning that they didn't pay me. I sold them insurance products and financial products that, the company paid me. So the payment for my services didn't come out of the teacher's pockets.
Got it.
So there's that piece. And the reason that's in the conversation is because I have, a database of teachers that I've worked with in the past. I know how to get into the system to see them, and I know what works best with them. I know that market inside and out, and I love that market. So that's why they're in the conversation. I've also worked, currently I work with women entrepreneurs, and I haven't been all that focused in my marketing, except I just give a lot of value. I blog a lot. I have a newsletter, and I just give value. And then I get clients by referral, and they typically come to me because they're concerned about retirement, like they're looking out to retirement, and they haven't saved or they haven't saved enough. And they feel kind of like clueless about their money, and they don't know what to do. And there's a level of fear. So bag lady fears are really common for women. And that's like where my heart is. So my work is a combination of like doing this inner work around money, and then teaching them external habits around money. And then sometimes that can actually lead to them buying a financial product from me, but not all the time. So I'm having a hard time okay, so women, it's such a big demographic. So who are the women that I'm talking to? And, I don't think women are going to the internet and typing in, money coach or saving for retirement. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're kind of hiding out, and it's kind of like in the back of their mind. And it's not until they run into someone like me or, hear about me. Like with the school teachers, I would go on site and do a lunchtime workshop for them, and that's how they heard about me.
So let's talk about the clients who've been referred to you and actually paid you. what problem do they want solved? Was the retirement issue?
See, the problem they want to solve would be, getting a savings going and feeling good about, they've got something going towards retirement.
And is that, I read your application, your intake form, and I took a look at your website. One of the things that stood out to me was your story about, I think, your rec, and everything that you experienced in that lesson. And
My what? I'm sorry, say that again.
were you in a wreck or something? Like something happened with your back and you were out for a while?
Oh, yeah. Earlier in the year, I was out for a while I had a back issue. I was out for about 5 months.
Yeah. Okay. So you had written about like some of the things that you learned in that journey. And I'm wondering, you could use the front end messaging. I'm just curious about where this conversation about the retirement, how is the specificity of retirement something that lights you up? Because obviously you can continue to, on the back end, sell some of the financial services related to that, or you can also do the deep dive on the inner work, which I hear and I saw in all your messaging is like really what you get passionate about. And then it's like, okay, you can walk them through the specifics about retirement. But I'm curious if it's that conversation that lights you up, or going up a level in messaging and it being basically more about women and money. And it could be entrepreneurs, because I'll tell you, entrepreneurs, like money is a top of mind thing, because it's like not only like running their own business, but retirement concurrently are two things that are at the top of their mind. So do you like staying in the specificity of retirement, or do you like going one step up and talking about money, women's relationship to money at a more general level?
I like going one step up. I like this. I definitely am concerned about retirement. I'm very concerned about retirement for women. So I do want that to eventually be something that is an option to, that we get that taken care of. If a woman walks away from me and we haven't addressed her retirement, I feel like our work isn't complete. And I do like going the level up because I just love that topic. I feel emotional right now talking about it.
Share more when you're ready. What's stirring that emotion?
Well, as a young girl, I watched my mom struggle with three, she's a single woman, 3 kids. I was the oldest. And, I watched her struggle around money, and she worked really hard and came from absolutely nothing. She didn't even have a high school education, and put herself through college, no car. We walked everywhere. She put herself through college, and, now she's a retired woman with a pension. And then for myself, I was clueless about money 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I left a 15-year relationship with a man who had all the money stuff figured out, and he promised me I would never have to worry about finances. And he didn't marry me because I became a Christian while we were together, and he was afraid of that. And I chose to leave, but I left penniless. And by the grace of God, I had gotten my insurance license, and I came to find out that I could do retirement planning. And it was a total God thing how I ended up even doing retirement planning with school teachers when in fact I was clueless about money. So it was through that process that I learned everything that I know today. And so I know the stories that women have around money.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing vulnerably. What I sense about you is that your message is more about like the empowerment of women.
Yes.
And saying like one of the areas that is holding you back from feeling fully empowered is this whole money area. And it doesn't have to be scary.
Yes.
Like I can help you with this. This is what I saw my mom experience. This is what I've experienced. And let's have you step into the fullness of the woman that you can be and address this money thing in a way that feels good for you. And retirement is part of it. Like we're going to walk through step by step each of these areas. Now, teachers could be a part of that demographic, but for me, that's the bigger message that I hear in what you shared.
Yes, it's like you just said exactly what I feel.
Yeah. So if I look at granularity, the very bottom one is like, let's just talk about topics, not audiences. The very bottom one is retirement. The next one up is money, but the next one up from there is empowerment. And that's the one that I feel is yours. And you're saying like money is the means for you to feel fully empowered. Like for you to be, and in particular, let's look at this global movement that's happening right now about women marching and saying like, hey, our voice, who we are, like we don't want to be, like women have stepped up in ways they never have before globally right now. And you have a powerful tool, an area that not everyone wants to look at, but that powerfully empowers women, anybody, once they get their money situation. And so I just say, go for that third level up is where I hear your messaging is, and that money is a means for that, and retirement is included in the conversation.
Yes. So then that totally lights me up. And so then where I kind of go around in circles is I don't see women typing in when, empowerment around money. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So if you look at, let's say now we look at the demographics of whom you're talking to, entrepreneurs, I'll tell you, because they've been the audience that I've talked to for, I don't know, I've been an entrepreneur and have been empowering people to become entrepreneurs for 14 years now. And it's one of my most favorite audiences to work with because they have a wiring that is built for personal growth, development, innovation, getting out of their comfort zone. And so they're actively looking for ways to grow either personally or their business. So it's a natural audience that if it's an audience that you love working with, that you could speak, like we could get to, now we won't do it in this next few minutes, but we can get your messaging around for them around this area. And that would be a natural audience that would include women. And I would think would be, because you mentioned them as one of the ones that have come to you or been referred.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an audience for you to consider that is a little bit more specificity than just women. You can do the teachers, but I'm wondering if it's as a top of mind issue for them. It's almost like you're having to educate them that it's an issue they need to think about versus an audience that already sees it as a top of mind issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And the interesting thing about school teachers is that I don't know what it is, but their mindset is already geared towards, they know they need to plan for retirement, which is why when I would do workshops, I would get, no matter how many teachers were in the room, my sign-up rates for them to have a one-on-one with me was almost always 100%. So I could go in there and I pretty much knew that 100% were going to be meeting with me one-on-one. So it's a strange thing. It's like they know that this is what they need to do. They're all I don't know if part of it is because they want to know when they can retire because they're teaching forever. So there's that. But then there's also just, it's very much in their mindset that retirement planning is something they need to do.
So if you wanted to, you could date that audience and market to them and see if that fulfills like your framework for all of this work could be easily rolled out to teachers. One, you have an audience, you have a database, you have all that. You can roll it out and you can say like, oh, I'm content. Like this fills me. This gives me the audience. I'm seeing them pay and all of that. And we can move forward in that direction. Or if you say, okay, I want to go to expand, I would say choose between one of those, the teachers or the entrepreneurs, and spend some time like weighing out which feels better, like leave aside like who can afford it and all of that, because we will build it into the messaging that it has them want to take action. And it doesn't mean that you couldn't target the other audience, but for us to make the most of the workshop, it's focusing on one so that you can learn how to drive the car. Then you can get in a different car and drive it, but there's something about just deciding. Yeah. And that's going from A to Z with one, and then you can make tweaks after the process. Does that make sense?
Yes. Makes total sense. Okay. So what I'm hearing is to just continue along in the work here, towards the virtual workshop, and kind of keeping both entrepreneurs and teachers as a possibility, and see which one I feel more led to do as I'm learning to drive the car.
I want you to choose by next Wednesday which one's your audience.
By next Wednesday. Okay.
And if you have a couple that you have exposure to, I would say, hey, can I just talk to you? Can I interview you for a program that I'm developing? And as you talk to a few of them as part of your market research, see if you get a clarity of like, oh my gosh, like this is an audience I would love working with. They see the hunger for it. This is how I can help them, and see if that helps. So it's like a little tiny bit of some market research for you. But I would say your homework is choose which of those audiences by next Wednesday.
All right. Okay.
So you're not going through the workshop with two audiences in mind, because it just will split the results. It'll split your efforts, and I don't want you to be dual-minded. I want you to have singular focus. So one focus by next Wednesday. Trust, learn how to drive that particular car, and it doesn't mean that you couldn't do the other audience later. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and I'm totally on board with that, because my intention for this program is to have a program fully ready to launch and be able to start marketing and making offers to the audience.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll have that.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Vanessa.
And Gail said if your audience is teachers, when they finish her certification program, she can send them to you. You guys serve the same audience.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Gail.
Awesome. All right. We'll mute you out.
Yeah.
I think thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for sharing of yourselves and your stories. We didn't get to hear from somebody. Who was it? I didn't see a hand raised. So I'm trusting that everyone who wanted to get support got it, because you raised your hand, or my team indicated that if you couldn't raise your hand that you were asking for support. So I am so glad you're here, and congratulations for taking action, and thank you for sharing your heart openly. Thank you for sharing of your story. And this is just a beginning. We still have a lot of time together. It'll go pretty fast and furious over the next couple weeks, but you're just going to see how this beginning of planting the seed is, we're going to continue to water it, and it's going to come together, and how we're going to get to support and know each other in this work even more intimately in the next couple of weeks. And I am delighted to serve you in that. So congratulations for being here, and we will see you next week. Be ready to answer all these questions, and we will take it from there. Lots of love. Bye for now, guys.